Yes, it's Ramakrishna Sharanam. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste,
So,
namaste.
namaste, everyone. Swami Vivekananda is a source of great inspiration for all of us. Today, we are going to reflect on some of the most interesting and inspiring incidents from the life of Swami Vivekananda. So, first, Pranis Sagar is going to say some of the inspiring incidents from the life of Swami Vivekananda. So, let us welcome Pranis Sagar.
Yes, thank you so much, Anna. First of all, my namaskar to everyone. Um, I'm very happy that today I got the first chance to express something about Swamiji. So it's really a great thing, and I hope I do justice for this place which I got. So I really enjoy Swamiji's incidents in my life because every incident of his life teaches me something. So let me start with his one of incident. He in his childhood he used to play on a tree. So his father uh, want to make something. So he said that okay, there will be a ghost on that tree. If you play again, that will turn your head in the backside. So he and his friends got afraid of that thing, so they don't want to join in that play from next time. But Swamiji is not uh, into that trap actually. He says that to his friends that okay, if that ghost was really there, that would be done before itself when we were playing. So like he realized that thing. Now that really made so much impact on my mind that then I started trying it at my home. Okay, I heard a lot of stories that there are ghosts. I heard a lot of stories that there is no ghost. So let me try by myself, as Swamiji did with himself. So he tried, and it got proved that there is no ghost for him. But how can that convince me? So I tried it. I went to a room where there is no light, where there is no one. So I test myself. If really ghost is there, let let me see that. So let me experience it practical in my life, that whether ghost is there or not. Otherwise this will make an impact in throughout my life. In my childhood I used to afraid a lot. I didn't even go from one lane to another lane because I thought, okay, in that gap, something is going to come and catch me. So that was terrible. And now I want to test it because Swamiji said that, okay, there is no ghost. So some hope I have that, okay, let me try it. So that day I tried and nothing happened. Nothing came. So I started believing it. Okay. Uh, it is said there is no ghost, and it is proven by my own experience that okay, there is no ghost. So that really gave me a lot of clarity that okay, there is no ghost. If I'm afraid of something at dark, it is only maybe because of animals or some birds and insects, but definitely not because of that ghost and all these concepts. So that made me realize that okay, there is no ghost. Don't believe it just because someone says. See that gave how that changed my life. How changed that this thing. When I was taking class to American students, there were other students also. I told the same that see, don't believe in ghost or anything just because someone is saying or someone is saying in such a dramatical way. Test it by yourself, as Swamiji says. If that feels correct, right, and then you start believing on this thing. And that American guy tested uh, in his room. He shared while he was sharing in his feedback that he saw that okay, there is no ghost. He also started believing that okay, there is no ghost as well. So that's the huge impact because otherwise that would be in my mind for a whole life. So that small test of mine removed that fear of ghost. So that's how the Swamiji's incident changed that thing. So that was a small incident. And there is another incident in Swamiji that before going to Chicago, Swamiji asked Shardama's permission that am I eligible to go to America and share the message. So Ma asks him, Swamiji, that can you give that knife to me? So Swamiji holds the knife, which is sharp. He holds that, and which is having that wooden this thing. He will give to Sharda. So Shardama decides that yes, you are the right person. You can go now. So like Swamiji asks, like how you will say, how you are saying that. She says that okay, see, the hard thing, you hold that, and the safest part you gave to me. That means you are there to protect others, even if it harms you. The attitude that shows that there is no text there, there is no moral this thing, but in that action itself it says that whatever is hard you take it, and whatever is good you give to others. So that really really inspires me. Sometimes what happened means a mosquito came and it was biting me, and my thoughts were like, okay, it has its own family, let it take. I'm so strong, so small blood doesn't matter. So the thinking process changed. It's not matter of like mosquito is good or bad, that's a different thing. But that maturity levels, that way of thinking has changed. So that brought a lot of difference in my life. And there's another instant where there's a conversation between a foreign person and Swamiji, that he says that why Indians don't even wear that proper clothes. Swamiji says that in your country, a tailor will decide a gentleman, and in my country, character decides whether he's a gentleman or not. That again gave me a lot of clarity that okay, outer appearance matters. I'm not against it. It is very important, but it is not everything, right? So there's this famous saying is also there that don't judge a book by its cover. So it is very clear that. That's why actually that gave me a lot of clarity that um, I used to go to my college with simple these things, no hadavidi, no high things, that high fi brands and all these things. Even the normal this thing was completely fine. My close friend who was with me, actually he's having his own clothes shops. So he used to be so stylish, and I was the very simple guy with very formal normal. I didn't pay much attention to colors and all these things, but half of the college knows me. So whenever I go from first floor to fifth floor, there were a lot of people who were like saying hi, 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 and because they know me. And this guy is not much into people and interaction, so he was like very silent. He used to ask me, Are you are like so simple, but still lot of people will connect to you. Now that gives me clarity that okay, it is not the richness or the poor or whatever it may be. It is character that matters. It's not that which brand you wore. What matters is that what's your character is. Now that is proved that I personally experienced that it's not about any brand or anything. If you're pure, if your character is pure, that's enough to connect with other people. Now that's how Swamiji's incident connect with me. So yeah, these were my some of the experiences and incidents which connected and made me and took me to the next level. So yeah, I'll end here. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Pranit, for sharing the inspiring instance from the life of Swami Vivekananda. Now I request Balaji Radmani, brother, to share some of the inspiring instance. Please unmute, brother.
Salutations to Divine Mother Kali, salutations to the Holy Trio, and namaste everyone. Hello, all brothers here, namaste, and all the viewers, namaste to you all. And thank you for this opportunity. And Praneeth, thank you for those incidents. But let me remind you, yes, you should not believe in ghosts, but at the same time, when Sri Ramakrishna attained Mahasamadhi, the first monastery or the first placed monks, the Swami Vivekananda and his brother monks went towards Baranagar monastery, and it was said to be haunted. It was haunted, and still they had to move it. And Sri Ram, they didn't have any money to move in there. So Swami Vivekananda, brother monks were worried because After the Mahasamadhi of Sri Ramakrishna, they didn't get much of help, these disciples of Ramakrishna. But still, they were so determined to lead the life of a monk. So they took that monastery and they didn't have any much funds or food to eat. But Naren was so confident, Swami Vivekananda, he said, Sri Ramakrishna will do some help to us. And as he said, Sri Ramakrishna went to a dream of, I think, Mathur Babu or someone, one of his rich disciples said, my children are struggling. Go and give them food and make some arrangements. So at night, someone knocked the door. And before even opening, Swami Vivekananda said, someone as Ramakrishna has sent for us. When they opened the door. So why I mean to say in Baranaga Monastery, Swami Vivekananda used to see some beings with severed earth, with no head moving around. Naren said, don't worry, they are just slaves of Lord Shiva. You just keep moving. So they were like all night they will be singing bhajans. So he said, with I myself a demon, what they can do to me. At the same time, he has narrated an incident where a repeated some spirit kind of spirit will come and always seek his help. It will come and give him some sort of advice. Once it said to him that his mother passed away, Swami Vivekananda's mother passed away. He was in Chennai by then, I think. So when he heard that his mother passed away, he was so, his mother, he loved his mother so much. So he wanted to know if it is real. Then, he tried to send telegram and he checked everything. His mother was all right. Then what he did is he prayed for the spirit and that spirit disappeared. It didn't come again. So, beyond this world, this world is perceived by the senses, five senses. But you should know beyond the senses, there are many worlds around, many beings around that you can't even feel. But when you go to through a meditation to the subtle level, when your senses become so sharp, when your hearing becomes so sharp, when your vision is not through these eyes, you will feel many beings around you. But you should not focus on any of these things. That's what Swamiji said. We are not here to focus on ghosts, demons. When Swamiji has said, once you realize Atman, they are going to be your slave. You are not theirs. So all these exist. The thing is, you need to analyze. You should not believe in blindly in anything. You need to analyze anything. But beyond our sense perception, there are many things around, many worlds around, many beings around. When they say aliens, they send so many things, but they can't find out. But meditate deeply, you will know what exists beyond this world, that are existing in the subtle region, so which we can't feel with these senses, but we can with the subtle senses. We can feel them, we can hear them, we can see them. But the yogis will not reveal them. For them, it's normal, everyday occurrence for them. They will hear and see things beyond the perception, but they won't focus on all these things. Their experiences will not, they will not limit themselves these experiences. They'll keep moving forward. They won't care. And when it comes to other incidents, Swamiji's childhood hobby was meditation. So what he will do is when he started meditation, he was around 7 years old. His hobby was they had a competition who meditates longer with his friends. So when he meditated, there was a cobra that came, and all of his friends ran away, but Naren didn't even move. He was still sitting there and meditating. He lost his outer consciousness. His friend shouted, he couldn't hear. He was just 7. And then his grandmother came running and took him away forcibly to protect him. So even at the age of 7, he was such a person. He was into deep meditation. Even during school time, nearly the college time, when he was meditating, he saw some image coming, image light, it's a shaven head and with a kamandalu in hand coming closer to him. He was little, frightened. He got little scared and actually went away. But later he told his disciple that it was Gautama Buddha who came to him and he shouldn't have ran away. But later, anyways, he got this Buddha's grace later. So these are in childhood, his mother said that she needed 2 nurses to control him. So it's not easy to control him, but in childhood, he will run everywhere and it was not easy to control. So only thing that could control his mother had to pour cold water over him and saying Shiva, Shiva. Once he hears that Shiva, Shiva, he will calm down. Otherwise, nobody can control him. So even that age, he was Shiva. That name will calm him down. Then I had to share about the faith and resignation he had on God. He took that wandering monk life, so he started wandering. So and then he will walk mostly, but when someone gets him a ticket, he will take a train. So once he sat on the first class compartment of a train, and he was so hungry, and he was very angry. So he was so tired. Opposite to him, there was a person who appeared to be very rich, a businessman, and very rich. And what he was having some sweets, and he was having water, nice water. And Swamiji was looking at it. Someone bought him a ticket, but he was so angry. But he was a monk, so he cannot ask for that. So he was looking at it, and then this person was mocking Swami Vivekananda. He was making fun of him. He said, "You are a monk. You are lazy. Look at him. You look so strong and healthy. Yet you have come and sat on the train. You think somebody will come and give you food. You are so strong, so young. Why can't you your food, earn your bread? You're looking. I can't give even one piece of this sweet for you or water." Just he showed everything to him and was having it. Swamiji was a monk. He was sitting there. I think it was Tarigat station. It's the name of Tarigat, where they alighted. Once they alighted, so this person again was mocking him, and he went and sat on the bench. And Swami Vivekananda was sitting down somewhere. A person came running from somewhere, and he had a leaf which he placed before Swamiji. He said, "You are the person. You are the person." Immediately, he pointed out to Swamiji and said, "You are the person." He kept a leaf before him, and he placed some sweets on the leaf and gave him water. Swamiji said, "What is this? Who are you?" He said, "I'm a sweet seller. I got sweet shop here. I was sleeping in the afternoon. Sri Rama appeared in my dream and said, 'My child is there. He is hungry in the station. Go give him sweets and glass of water.'" Swamiji said, "No, you might be wrong. I'm not the person." He said, "You are the one." And I actually slept again. I woke up and slept again. Again, I saw you in my dream. You are the one who gave me this, who are the one whom Sri Rama showed in my dream as his child. So I came running, kindly take this sweets and take this water and bless me, sir. He had the tears in his eyes, because later when he shared the story to, narrated this incident to Sharadama, he had tears in his eyes saying that it was Sri Ramakrishna. It was Sri Ramakrishna who did this. He came and he appeared to him, and he never left me alone. He was always there for me. And there was even during wandering life, he went to a king and he was praising more about, he said, "I need to do something to India. So I'm seeing many people suffering. So I had to uplift the people here. I had to do something for the masses, poor masses." And the king said, "Swamiji, you are a monk. You are not supposed to have particular attachment to a country. So you should see the world as one." Swamiji immediately retorted and said, "Look, if you don't love your mother, you can't love the mothers of others. So if you don't have patriotism first, mine is patriotism first, and then universalism. First, I love my country. If I don't love my country, I can't love other countries. So I love my. So he was different in that way. He had that patriotism too. He loved the country so much. Even in USA, so he finished his Chicago conference, and he was, he became popular. He became so famous in USA. But he was given a cozy bed. It was a luxurious room and bed, everything. He could not sleep on the bed. He sat on the floor. He was crying and rolling on the floor. And he was telling, "Oh, Divine Mother, you have given me this cozy bed and luxury place to stay, while my people in my country are suffering out of poverty. Show me the way to get them out of this. I don't want this cozy lifestyle. I want them to get out." So he was crying on the floor. Say that the compassion he had for the nation, he had for the people. And he always said, "I didn't go for USA for my own sake. I didn't find a way to serve my people. So I came here." That was the compassion he had. So he didn't enjoy the luxury there. He was not able to enjoy the luxury there. In fact, he got many threats there. And some people said, "You should not preach Hinduism." And some people said, "You should preach what we ask you to preach." And they were ready to pay him money. And they were threatened him too. But he said, "I stand for the truth, and truth will never ally itself from falsehood. Even if the world is against me, truth will prevail in the end. I shall not budge." So that was the courage here. He was not, nobody was able to buy him with money. Nobody was able to threaten him with any weapon. He was that strong. Once people invited him to have a tea, and they poisoned the tea. In USA, they invited, because he had many enemies. Many people were jealous of him, their enemies. They poisoned his tea. When he was about to have the tea, it was Sri Ramakrishna who came and said, "Naren, don't drink it. There is poison in it." So he was saved. He was always saved by Sri Ramakrishna. Wherever he went, he was always saved. Once it so happened, Swami Vivekananda was, he was about to give lecture the next day. He had given so many lectures, so he didn't have any topic actually. Suddenly, what happened? Early morning around 2, 3 a.m. The person who was neighbor, who was staying next door, was hearing some noise coming from the room. It was not Swami Vivekananda's voice, as if somebody is discussing something. And the discussion went on for a long time, and then this person could not control that. He wanted to ask Swami next day, Swamiji, I heard some voice in your room. And what happened? He asked him, did you also hear the voice? I thought only I can hear that. He said, no, I heard that. He said, whenever I am confused what to speak the next day, I will always, have that something appear before me. A voice will appear. It will discuss all the topics I have to speak the next day. So everything will be, I think it's the blessing of Sri Ramakrishna that he always gives me the points what to speak the very next day. So it always, he didn't say it as a surprise. He didn't say it as some achievement. He said it so softly. He said, this is nothing. This all happens. So he had that power, but he said, this is nothing. This happens with everybody. So that was his simplicity. And I have to say the story about the encyclopedia. So everyone would have heard of it. It was in Belur, they acquired some books from the library and some many volumes. I think Swamiji was around 35 then. So his disciple once saw those volumes and said, Swamiji, no, you need the entire lifetime to finish these books. He didn't know Swamiji has already completed 10 volumes and towards the 11th volume that he was reading. Swamiji said, what are you talking about? Go take the book, ask anything you wish. He was opening some book randomly, any page you ask. He not only tells what in it, he can exactly produce the phrase that he has read. He got shocked, the disciple. How is it ever possible, Swamiji? And he couldn't believe that he was able to reproduce the fact. That's why I said Swamiji had photographic memory. From childhood, he had this habit. Even kings knew that he had this habit. He will just read the page and turn over, and he will understand what the author has said. So Swamiji said, the power is with the celibacy. I haven't entertained even one lust thought in my life. That power is such that I don't have to read the complete books. I just turn the pages and I will know what the author has said. So he was startled, and it was a live experience, this one, of example of what celibacy can do. You can read 10 volumes in no time. Imagine how long it takes for us to read our college books. In fact, I can't read my college book my entire life. So still, there are many things left over. But he read 10 volumes because he said anyone who can practice celibacy can achieve this too. He didn't say nobody can do it. That's the greatness about him. He never considered himself great. He always say anyone who practices celibacy can do this. It's not a big thing. So if you practice it, you can also do it. That's the power he had. And in USA, as you know, they won't believe you that easily. So they had to test his powers. He had so many siddhis. He acquired so many siddhis. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna once asked him, Naren, I'm ready to transfer all the siddhis I have, powers I have. Do you need them? So Swamiji said, I don't need them. Because if I use them, if I take them now, I will use them unnecessarily. But I don't want it. I'm not here for powers. I need self-realization. Ramakrishna was then pleased. He was testing him if Naren was after powers or he wanted self-realization. But later, before his Mahasamadhi, Sri Ramakrishna transferred his powers to him. But Swamiji never experienced them, never he tried to use them or show them in public. But once it so happened that people wanted to see what is the power of yoga and meditation. So they tried to test him. A person can write something on the paper. Swamiji would say, this is what you have written. And he will tell, your house is there. It is so. Everyone got shocked because exactly was able to say what people were thinking in their mind. And there was a person who wanted to test Swamiji in the West. So he said, if you are able to, readers come, show me what you can do. Swamiji just looked into his eyes and he was able to tell everything about him, past, present, future. That person got shocked. He was actually scared. He said, leave me alone, don't do this. What are you trying to do? Because Swamiji, by looking to you, as he can see through your soul, he can find your past, present, future. That's what the power he had, but he never manifested them. He never believed in manifesting supernatural powers. He didn't even wanted that part of it to come out of it. Even of Sri Ramakrishna, he never shared about all the supernatural powers he possessed. Because he said siddhis will be a stumbling block for yogi. So when you do meditation yoga, You will get siddhis, you can read minds, you can do so many things will come to you. From here, you can know what is a person doing distance, but you should pay no heed to them. You should go forward, otherwise you will. So Swamiji, even after attaining perfection, he preferred not to use them or show his supernatural powers to anybody. That was the greatness of him. So all these incidents, these were some of the great incidents. For the last 10 years, I've been posting incidents, and still they keep coming, because to read about them, it's something like it never ends. The experiences people had never end, and there are so many still yet. But seeing, I think the time is up. So thank you, and I've shared many. Thank you for that, and thank you for the opportunity, Babu.
Thank you so much, brother, for sharing the inspiring incidents from the life of Swamiji.
My
I
pleasure.
want to add one or two related points. Actually, we are talking. Pranita also shared some of the experiences of Swamiji related to ghosts. Once a devotee wrote a letter to Ma Sharda Devi saying that, Ma, I have taken Mantra Diksha from you, but our family guru started cursing me. So, what should I do now? Ma Sharda said, you don't have to worry about anything. Just pray to Thakur, he will take care of it. Around that time, Swami Vivekananda asked Ma Sharda, Ma, someone cursed me. When I was around Himalayas, someone cursed me. Then I had severe pain in my stomach for almost 3 days. What has your Thakur did to me? He didn't help me at all. Then Ma Sharda said, he wants to teach you something because you didn't believe in these supernatural things like ghosts and all these things. All these things exist in this world. You only believed in the absolute Brahman. In fact, Swami Vivekananda didn't even accept Bhavatarni Kali. He said, I don't have any faith. So that's why Thakur wants to teach you that all these things exist. Whatever human mind can conceive of, it exists. You may see it or experience it, it doesn't matter. Our human mind can only conceive things that exist in the universe. It cannot conceive the things that doesn't exist. So Thakur wants to teach you that all these things exist. That's why he made you suffer for some time. So in our life also, many a times, even though we pray to God, do worship and all these things, we have to suffer many a times in our life. But if you look back after some time, those are the incidents, those are the moments that really changed our character. That those are the incidents that makes us a better person, that teaches us a lot. It's not the comfortable days in our life. We only remember those important incidents where it teached us something, we learned something. So even the devotees, we are praying to Sri Ramakrishna or following Swamiji, that doesn't mean we don't have any problems. Of course we have problems, but those difficult incidents always pushes us towards God. So the we have to keep in mind that everything exists, but as Swami Vivekananda says, all these ghosts and all these supernatural things, whatever exist, they only exert their power when we are weak. So our objective is to make ourselves strong physically, mentally, and spiritually. Then all these negative influences can't do anything. So this is one thing related to these ghosts and all these things. And I want to share one of my favorite incident. I used to tell it to everyone that after Sri Ramakrishna attained Mahasamadhi, Swami Vivekananda wanted to spread the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. So he started the Bharat Parikrama as a project. One day in Atras railway station, he met one young person. Actually, he sat on the bench. One young person came to him and said, Swamiji, Swamiji, can you be our host? can be our guest today. Swamiji immediately accepted, I'll be your guest. So that young person treated him very well. Then he asked, Swamiji, why are you here? For what purpose you are roaming around? He said, I want to spread the message of our master Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. For that, I need people. For that, I need some young people with purity and character. So I'm looking for them. I'm in search of those young people. Immediately, the young boy said, Swamiji, you already found one. I want to be your disciple. Please take me in your fold. He resisted, yeah, for almost 1 week. He always said, no, 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 no. Finally, one day he said, if you want to be my disciple, go and collect arms from all the officers in your railway station. Immediately, that person ran to the railway station and collected arms. He begged from them some money and some items and came to Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda liked him. He accepted him as his disciple. From then onwards, they both started going together from place to place. After some days, they reached the foothills of Himalayas. The path was so muddy, so Swamiji was able to go properly, but Sadananda for Sadananda, it is difficult. It became very difficult, and his shoes stuck in the mud. Swami Vivekananda suggested him to remove the shoes. After removing shoes, also he couldn't keep pace with Swami Vivekananda. Then what Swami Vivekananda did, he took the shoes of Swami Sadananda and put his on his head, and he then started walking. Here, see, Swami Vivekananda is such a great monk. After that, he went to Chicago and taught the whole world the Vedanta philosophy and all these things. But here, he didn't have a speck of ego or anything. Many a times we feel so great about our egos and feel we have prestige, our so much of ego. But here, Swami Vivekananda have nothing. He just want to serve his people and do anything good without having any ego. So that incident inspired me a lot. And after a month or so, Swami Vivekananda gave sannyas diksha to same Swami Sadananda. That day, Swami Vivekananda asked, Swamiji, you have put so much faith in me. You have put so much faith in me. You gave me sannyas diksha also. What if? What if I fail? Swamiji laughed a bit and said, no, my boy, you haven't chosen me. I have chosen you. So this is very important. Why? Generally in Q&A sessions also, we get so many questions saying that how to find my guru, how to find my guru. It is impossible. We can't find our guru. A blind person cannot, even if a well realized soul came in front of us, we cannot recognize us. We cannot recognize them. So we are ignorant. How can we recognize them? But they can recognize us. So what we can do is that we can only prepare ourselves always. We can purify ourselves. So once we, for suppose, Sabari only did everything, worship and everything, worship Rama and everything. She prepared herself. One day Rama came. Once your heart is purified enough, then God knows. The Satchidananda Paramatma comes in the form of Guru. He enters. So what we can do is that we should always prepare ourselves, purify ourselves. Then at the right moment, the Guru will come to our life. As Swami Vivekananda said, even if you look at our lives, most of the things happen, particularly regarding spiritual path. We haven't planned them. They happened on the as we purify ourselves. Those things automatically happens at the right moment. We find the person. We can recommend some good book and take us to a good place. These things automatically happen as we purify ourselves. These things on their own happen. So we should not both think that much about how to find guru or worry about what happens next. Our goal is to purify ourselves, do whatever the good things we can do at the present moment. This is the only thing. And Swami Vivekananda in one incident said that you may escape from the bite of a deadliest snake, but you can't escape from my thoughts. So we are so fortunate that we are all reading Swami Vivekananda's words. And yeah, the more we contemplate on his words and his thoughts, the power of Swami Vivekananda will start manifesting in us. He will guide us. Those words automatically guide us and lead us in the right direction. And this is what I want to share. Now I request Sachin Takkar Dada to share some of the instance he wants to share.
Namaskar, everyone. So there are some 3-4 incidents. Three, of course, from his childhood. He was around 5 or 6 years of age, and he had gone to a festival with one of his relatives. And they were on their way back home, and they were crossing a road, and suddenly a horse carriage was recklessly moving towards them. So while Swamiji could cross the road, and he thought his relative was just behind him, to his utter surprise, when he turned around, he saw that his relative was standing right in the middle of the road, and the horse carriage was almost about to run him over. Okay, there were other people also on the streets, but everybody shouted, but nobody came for immediate help. Swamiji, at the age of 6, mind you, at the age of 6, he ran towards his relative and pulled him almost from under the horse's hooves. Okay, this is one incident which shows, and especially for children, this is a real-time hero for them. As I have told number of times, we hear of Bal Ganesha, we hear of Bal Hanuman, etc., which were definitely a great character when they were around. But Swamiji was someone who was, is just 125, 130, 140 years old from today. So it is more contemporary for the students. Another incident was he was, I think, at the age of 9 or 10, he and his friends decided to go to zoo, and that time there was no bus service in Kolkata. So there was either a boat or a palanquin or a horse carriage. So they decided to go through a boat. And after they finished their travel in zoo, etc., when they were coming back home, one of Swamiji's friend, he fell ill. He was sick and he vomited. The boatmen suddenly started shouting on the children, and they were in the middle of the river. So he threatened them that if you don't clean it up, I will not take the boat to the shore. Other boatmen also joined him. Okay, and they started a quarrel with the children, shouting at them. Now, in this commotion, Swamiji jumped into the river. He swam to the shore. Okay, and he started looking for help. He found 2 English soldiers, and he called upon them. Remember, that was the time when India was ruled by Britishers, and people used to be afraid of English soldiers. Okay, so he went to them. He, in his broken English, because he was in, I think, 9 or 10 years old, in his broken English and with his hand gestures, he tried to explain the problem. The Englishmen understood, and they shouted at the boatmen, asking him to come to the shore. He immediately came to the shore, and from there he ran away. The soldiers rescued the children, and they were so impressed with Swamiji's bravery that they asked him to come to some theatre. But being a loyal friend, Swamiji said that no, I'll have to be with my friends, and he did not go to that theatre where the British soldiers had invited him to. So this is a second incident which I remember. Okay, I'll try to link these incidents. The third one is every one of us know he was very fond of sports. He was very fond of gymnastics, etc. So he and his friends planned to put up a trapeze in an exercise club. Okay, So while doing that, they needed some help. So there was a English seaman who was standing there. So he requested him to join hands and help them. Now, what happened while fixing the trapeze? It fell on that English seaman, and he lost consciousness. He was bleeding also. Almost everybody around thought he was dead, and they ran away, except for Swamiji and some of his friends. Swamiji tore his dhoti, and took out that cloth, put it around that wound. His friends brought some water, and it was put on his face, sprinkled on his face. And after he got back his consciousness, they had put him to the right place. Okay, left him at his home or some nearby location. After a week, they in that entire week they tried to collect some funds for him, and after a week they gave it to that seaman. Can you imagine? Why was that feeling? Because we asked him to help us, and he came to our help and got injured, and therefore it is our duty to take care of him. Not only the care that they immediately took, but even afterwards collected some money and gave it to him. So these three incidents, if you just see, the Bile, the Bal Narain, every time the undercurrent was same, that you first, I behind you. Your interests are first, mine are later. Otherwise, you don't get that courage. While courage in itself is good, fearlessness in itself is good, but it comes after you have the sense to do good to others, after you have the concern for others. In all these three incidents, we saw how he was concerned about others and not for his own good, or even his life. Whatever things that we described, the first and the second one, he could have actually lost his life. He could have actually got hurt in that. Okay. And two more incidents which I may be able to connect to was that when there was this discussion going on that Swamiji should go to Chicago to attend the Parliament of Religion, etc. So help came from various quarters, and there was a promise made by Raja of Ramnad that he'll be giving some 10,000 rupees. Okay. So in February 1993, 1893, beg your pardon, 1893, he came to know that Raja of Ramnad has declined to give that money. Okay, and that was like dashing against all hopes, because that was a big sum, and he was depending on that amount as one of the important contribution. In spite of all these backslashes, he was of course sad. He wrote to Alasinga also that, see, I spent more time in Chennai. I could have spent little less time in Chennai. I could have got some time to gather more resources. Okay, so he was desperate. He was sad. He was extremely sad. He felt betrayed. Okay, but his last line was, all that is God's will be done. So I have nothing in my hand. Whatever he plans, I will follow that route. And of course, what was the feeling? Again, we have spoken on this number of times. Was it for his own achievements? Was it for his own success that he wanted to go to America? But he wanted to bring the knowledge of Vedanta to the Western world. He wanted to arouse their attention. Okay, so that he can do something for the masses, for the poor people in India who were suffering since long. So this was one incident that, although it was a very hopeless situation at that point of time, still he did not lose hope. And I think after 4 or 5 months, he proceeded to 3 months. He proceeded for Chicago. Again, reaching there, we all know the kind of hooting, the kind of troubles that he faced. He ran out of money. This, of course, is not a particular incident, but maybe a clubbing of 2-3 incidents where, because of his dress, people pulled on his dress, made fun of him. Okay, there was time when he had to sleep in a I think, in a box on a railway station. Right? Imagine the world mover or would-be world mover in few days was sleeping on a railway station in America in a box. Okay, so such was the tough time. Any ordinary mortal would have said that this is America, here it is, here is your winters, here is your snow. Baba, let me go away. I cannot take this anymore. And mind you, the clothes also that he had carried was not good enough to tackle the cold that is there in America. Okay, so in those wintry conditions, which he never even imagined that kind of cold can be there anywhere, with no money, no help, no recommendation. Okay, that was the time when he sustained. Imagine he reached there, I think, a little early, or he was on time, but then it got postponed, which he was not aware of, and therefore he had to spend that entire 1.5 month waiting for it. So imagine he had planned for 20 days, but he had to do plus 1.5 months or 2 months over and above those 20 days. So that was a tough part. And I would like to just add to what Balaji said, that on the day, I think it was in all probability on 11th of September, when he overnight became a public figure. And when he came back and he was in his room. Okay. So there were two feelings in his mind. One, he was grieving, he was crying. Why? Because today he has become public. That he knew the demand on his body, the demand on him would be tremendous going forward. And a sannyasi wants to have peace and quietude, basically quietude. They want a serene atmosphere. They don't want to go out so much. He knew that he had lost that treasure of a sannyasi on that day, and parallelly his heart wept for the masses in India, which Balaji, of course, and therefore his own personal grief then did not stand in the way. The grief of the masses had overcome his personal grief, and that is where he then slept on the floor and cried to mother that, tell me, mother, what can I do to help these masses? So such was the Swami for us, and what he has done for the entire humanity, especially for Indians. With that, I conclude my talk. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dada. Now I request Navina brother to share some of the interesting incidents.
Namaste everyone. Already many incidents have been told and discussed, but there are so many incidents in Vivekananda's life that we can go on discussing for days and days.
Yes.
I would like to talk of 2 to 3 points which are more human in nature, which will show us the humanistic side of Swami Vivekananda. I think that's something very important. When Swamiji was in the United States, he used to visit these barber shops. Of course, he had to shave and have a haircut and all. So, but in many places, they refused to.
Brother, your voice is not audible. It's not audible. I think it's in mute. I don't know.
No.
Let us take a question. Okay, before that,
Yeah.
you will take a question. Dada Sachin Dada, can you answer? I request you to answer this question:
Yes.
how to handle failure in life after hard work? Like this is the question.
Yeah.
How to
Hello.
handle? Yes.
Yeah. Hello, Rohit. Uh, how to handle failure in life after hard work? If you have done your hard work, then it is not a failure at all. What is success? Did you put enough effort behind the work that you were trying to do? You have to measure your success with that. I know the world is like that. They will never measure it like that. There will be 10 people standing in front of you and will tell you whether you were successful or whether you were failure. Don't judge yourself in the eyes of the world. If you have mentioned that you worked hard, I would take you as a success. It is a success story because you put enough effort. That is one. Second, this success and failure, hard work, is a part of ups and downs in life. It is going to come. It is bound to come. You cannot be rest assured that, oh, I have put my best effort and now I will definitely get success. That if it happens, okay, which is good, it happens with some people, but then they don't realize certain things in life. Always understand the darker side in the life teaches you a lot of things. So even after hard work, if you feel that you felt that it is a failure, rework, come again with some more solution, think another way of doing it. And we all just discussed Swamiji's this thing. Imagine before a would-be world mover, how many times did he face failure, betrayal? Not that he individually failed, but there was so much difficult situations around him. But he all sailed through with hope. So please, my request is don't consider there's nothing called failure. So as Swamiji has said that you've done good, you can do better. Okay, there is nothing bad, nothing worse. It's only good. You only need to do this much better. And if you try to do, maybe the next part, you may not call it a failure. It would be called a success. But again, as per me, if you put your hard work, that itself is a matter of success. Yes. Babu.
Okay, brother, if you
Thanks.
don't mind, I can share my point of view too.
Yes, yes, yes. And after that, we will have one more question also for you.
Okay. See, failure is not falling. Failure is refusing to give up. Failure is giving up. Okay. As long as you don't refuse, as long as you refuse to give up, you are not a failure. Doesn't matter. You fail 200 times, 300 times. As long as you are fighting, you are not a failure. The universe surrenders to a stubborn heart that perseveres. Okay. So it's not falling that calls you failure. It's refused and give up. Doesn't matter if you're knocked 99 times, 100th time get up. Because see, I give you an example. There's a borewell and you get water at the 100th feet. Imagine you have come closer to 95 feet, right? And then you have decided there is no water. I'm giving up today. Just 5 more feet. If you go still deeper, in that 5 feet, you would have got that water. So you never know how close you are to success. You never know. Doesn't matter. It's failures or lessons. They're teaching you different ways, right? Alva Edison, I heard that he failed so many times. It was thousandth attempt that he achieved success. So he didn't give up. And many scientists, if you go through their lives, they would have failed so many times and achieved, because you never know how close you are to success. As I told you about the borewell, don't dig 95 feet and give up, or 99 feet and then think, okay, I've tried digging 99 feet. Now I'm going to give up. Even a spiritual journey or somewhere in whatever journey you take, don't stop until you get that success. Doesn't matter how many times you fall, take their lessons, learn your lessons, go forward with more energy. If you want, take rest. If you fail, just take rest, but again, go forward. In meditation or in brahmacharya and whatever it is, whatever you take, life lessons, if you're going to have a career goal, you will fail. If you don't fail, see, quick success will develop ego and slow success will develop character. That humility will automatically come in when you keep failing. So it doesn't matter. Don't give up. As long as you're not giving up, you are not a failure. You are a star. You are a hero as long as you are fighting. Swamiji used to say, don't go down until you are knocked down. If you are thoroughly knocked down, then you are a failure. Even then, start fighting. Universe surrenders to a stubborn heart. I tell you truly. If you are fighting, the universe can't resist that success to you. It will give to you. So keep persevering. Okay, all the best.
Swamiji had
Thank
said, fail 1,000 times, but get up one more time. So
Definitely.
therefore, yes.
We have one more question. I request you to answer this one. After that, Navina brother will speak. The question is that what if I experienced Atman in a near-death experience? Is that enlightenment? If yes,
No, it is
then
not. It is a temporary experience for a few moments. Self-realization is remains for example, there is Savikalpa Samadhi that stays until you meditate, and when you come out of it, you again feel that body consciousness. It is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, that means you have finally self-realized. You live in the state forever. So even in dreams, sometimes you get, even in sleep, deep sleep, sometimes you get the vision of the Atman. That's a vision. You call it a vision, not self-realization. But it's a good sign that if you get that experience near death, that means you are getting some encouragement from the soul. Keep persevering until that becomes your state, until you become that Atman. That's a vision. That's good to have that vision, but that's not self-realization. You got to go forward. Then you'll attain self-realization. Sometimes you'll get the visions, a near-death experience, or some even while in a deep sleep, you can get that vision of Atman for a few seconds. That's a good sign. That means you have grace. But keep persevering until you become that. That becomes a permanent state as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Yes, brother.
thanks.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Navina. Yes.
Okay, the incident I was referring to. So these barbers used to refuse a haircut and a shave to Swamiji. It happened in many places, and there was a reason for that. So I was speaking about the racial discrimination in the United States that time, just like we have a caste discrimination in India. So they also had racial discrimination. So the reason they refused to shave or cut Swamiji's hair was that he would look like a Negro. He was an Indian, so they confused him with a Negro. But had Swamiji, of course, Swamiji knew English, very good English. If he even said once that he is not a Negro, they would have given him a haircut and a shave. But Swamiji never told that. He went to many barber shops, used him, thinking he's a Negro. But Swamiji, if he ever told that I'm not a Negro, they would have definitely given him a haircut. So many years afterwards, he was narrating this incident to one of his disciples. Then she asked him, Swamiji, why you didn't tell that you are not a Negro? You could have got a haircut. You could have come, look very fresh and all. Then Swamiji said, what? To rise at the expense of another? Think about his large-heartedness for himself, just to be himself. So we talk of all this equality and all those things at our convenience. So here was Swamiji. If he had just said that he's not a Negro, you would have got that treatment. Not only in the barber shop, even in restaurants. Swamiji was not given food because they thought he is a Negro. There was a very grave discrimination against the Negroes those days. In the restaurants, he was not given food. But never did Swamiji say that I'm not a Negro. And the reason being that he did not want to rise at the expense of another. That means what? If he says he's not a Negro, it means he's dealing in the Negroes. Maybe nobody would have noticed it. Maybe the shopkeepers would have felt happy that Swamiji is not a Negro, they will serve him. But Swamiji himself would have felt, okay, I'm not a Negro, I'm better than Negro. No. Swamiji, even if he had to starve, he was true to himself. He never said, I'm not a Negro. So, and he said, if I am grateful to the Aryan ancestors of mine, I'm equally grateful to the uncivilized people from African countries. They're also my ancestors. So look at that oneness with the universe, to see everyone equally. That is always, we talk of all this universal oneness and all that stuff. This is only for us an idea. We sort of feel it, but to be practical in this, it's something very, very important. And that we see from Swami Vivekananda's life, even if he had to starve, he wouldn't degrade another person. That's quite extraordinary. And the other thing I want to speak, because I think it's very important for the communal harmony. This incident, I think most of you know, but I think there are two aspects of this incident. I think this will help us to understand the great people better. Swamiji was in Almora. I had gone to that place. There's a place called Kakri Ghat. There's a graveyard there. It's looked after by a Muslim family. Even today, the descendants of those people are still there. They're continuing to look after that. And then, so Swamiji with Akhandanandji, they had gone to a nearby place. So they did a lot of sadhana there for 2-3 days. They had not taken food. Swamiji was very weak. So they came to this place that is called Karbala. So they came to Karbala, the Smashan Ghat. Then Swamiji almost fell unconscious. And there was nothing nearby, no shops or no homes. Even today, there are no homes in that place. Only a graveyard is there. So then the graveyard was looked after by a Muslim man. So he came running to see what's happening there. Then he noticed there's a sadhu, a Hindu sadhu, a very traditional orthodox kind of a person, because sadhus are usually, they're seen as very orthodox in India. Then he came and he asked Swamiji, he wanted to help Swamiji. He asked him, what can I do for you? Then he said, I want something to eat. He didn't have water to drink also. So this person went to his home, today also it's a very, not such a great house. So you can imagine more than 130 years back, how it would have been, a thatched roof maybe. So he brought water and cucumber. So Swamiji was so weak that he could not eat also. So he told that person, can you feed me? So look at this. It's a sadhu. Sadhus, how even today, the way they are looked after, most revered and all. So he's a man who looks after a graveyard, whom even in the Hindu religion itself, we consider them outcasts. Chandala, we call them. People are afraid of them, basically, those who look after the graveyard. And think, for a Orthodox Hindu, a sadhu, to be fed by a Muslim person who looks after a graveyard, especially in those days. So much restrictions were there. Then he sort of hesitated. Swamiji, how can I feed you, a Hindu monk? Then he made a wonderful statement. He said for all of us, basically, especially those who are fighting today, Hindus and Muslims and all, he said, are we all not one? He said this, the great Vedantic truth. In fact, Swamiji had realized this macrocosm, that idea that the whole universe is one, how that evolution took place, and all those things. If you read that lecture on macrocosm, you would understand that. What it's a poetry, basically, as Maharaj was saying the other day. If you read Vivekananda's literature, it's basically a poetry. Even though it looks like a prose or a travelogue, it's basically a poetry. So there, he had realized that macrocosm, the oneness of this universe, and right after that, he saw this Muslim man and he tells him, are we all not one? He asked the question to us, are we all not one? So that is a very important idea. And it just doesn't end there. There's a lot of things that goes after this also. It's quite incredible how these the small incidents from the life of great people, they can help generation after generations and keep inspiring us. And after this incident happened, Vivekananda was not very famous that time. Basically, he had just was going like a parivrajak, but he was a wise man, well scholar. Those things were there, but he was not very popular as such. But then somebody had invited Swamiji for a speech in that place, Almora. And he had become popular. He came back from the West afterwards. Then, while going in a procession, Swamiji was going in a procession, they were carrying him. He noticed this person who had given him the cucumber and water. Then he called him and he gave him some money. And he told Latu Maharaj, who was with him, Abhutananji, Latu Maharaj asked him, why did you give him so much of money? He gave him considerable money. Then he told him, would I be ever able to repay the debt I owe him? He saved my life. Swamiji says this. And during assembly, a big program will be there. Then Swamiji invites this person. His name is Zulfikar Ali. So he invites Zulfikar Ali he calls him to the program. And during the program, he calls him on the stage and tells everybody, but for himself, I wouldn't have been alive today. I wouldn't have been able to talk to you. So this is the first part of the incident. It shows, how great Swamiji's heart was and what a message he left for us. That of oneness. How much we quarrel even today, how much of hatredness, venom we have, we spew towards each other. I mean, there may be problems, there are problems, there have been problems within the religion, across the religions. They were there. But when these great people come, they don't sort of become sectarian. Though they are aware of the problems, they try to find a solution. So we will never be an exclusively one religion or one group or one nation universe. It's always going to be diversified. This diversity has to be understood, and there is that underlying oneness across religions, across human beings, across nations, continents. That underlying oneness has to be recognized, and the unity has to be brought about by focusing on that. not on our differences. Differences are there. I am different from Babu. I am different from Sachin Thakur. Pranit is very different from me. So that doesn't mean that I have to hate him. It's Hyderabad. I am from Bangalore. That is, diversity is born to be there and it has to be there. That's how nature is. So Swamiji saw that underlying unity. He always said that we are all one. So underlying unity is very important. And you know, I went to the place Almora in 2019. That is 3 years back, and I met the descendant of Zulfikar Ali. So then it's very interesting. You should really know this. So what happened? Zulfikar Ali gave 2 cucumbers to Vivekananda. Okay. So today Ramakrishna Mission has given education to the descendants of Zulfikar Ali. Even today, the person goes there. I forgot his name. I will be able to recall whom I met. So he even today goes to Ramakrishna Mission, and there the Muslim of that place they tell him why you are connecting with Ramakrishna Mission, why you are keeping. Yeah, the important thing is where Swamiji fell in that graveyard. They have built a small garden. They have maintained it very clean. That's very important. It happened more than a century back. Even today, they have maintained it that well with all the due reverence. And he even said that person that what Swami Vivekananda said is much like what Prophet Muhammad said. It is not my statement. This is what that person told me. So see how the cucumber given to one really great monk at that time is saving generation after generation, and we are thankful to him. See, because he gave cucumber to Vivekananda, that time we got so much of Vivekananda. So this idea of charity to the needy person, especially to those who are really great, those who can contribute. Like we see in Krishna example, Draupadi gave him one bit of small rice, and now that thing became Akshaya Patra all time. So we see from these incidents that charity, especially given to the right person at the right time, that's that's a saving thing basically. It saves us generation after generation. I'm not talking about that particular moment you may get some money. No, it's such a great thing basically. So I think these 2 incidents I just wanted to talk about. There are so many incidents, but I think critically we have to learn from this. The first thing, that oneness, not just by verbally we're talking we are all one. No, somewhere can actually said it's not a sentimental statement. We say that we are all one, but we must feel the oneness of the whole universe. We must feel it. And how Swami Vivekananda felt. I know, looking at a Muslim person who looks after a graveyard to say that are we all not one? You are simply not making a cinematic, figurative statement. You actually meant it, and you was actually witnessing that. And that is, and also the Negro incident I told you. He was starving, but he never wanted to degrade another human being. So that's the idea we get from Vivekananda. It's the most inspiring, most educative, most enlightening, and something we really can't put in words what exactly it is, but it gives a fulfillment to our lives. So these incidents we have to reflect upon more and more. And of course, already spoken about courage and compassion, his brilliance, celibacy. Yes, each aspect of Vivekananda is very important for us. It was a combination of all that. At least we can practice some of these things. Some of things maybe I'm not able to get a photographic memory now, but fine. At least I can have a compassionate heart. Be compassionate to people around you. So the concentration, whatever degree we can. So what Krishna said in the Gita, Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So even if you do a little of that, that's really going to help us. And as Srima Krishna said, I have done 16 parts, you do 1 part. So Vivekananda did so much, he practiced so much. So at least let us do what we can, being inspired by those wonderful lessons of life. So we are reflecting upon incidents of Vivekananda's life. They're basically life lessons from Vivekananda's life. So that's from me.
Right. Thank you so much, brother, for sharing heart-touching incidents from the life of Swamiji. Our sister Miriam wants to say something. Let us welcome her. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for educating us and always sharing to make us better people. I might not know much, but from the best quality that I got from Swami Vivekananda was his humbleness. That is what I know. How he approached Divine Mother when he wanted to ask for permission to go to the West to spread what he considered something good Okay, for us, we can name it awareness, we can call it enlightenment, but that universal love that he felt, that I know something good and other people would benefit from it, I think that is amazing, and we should try to cultivate that same feeling within us, all of us. There are some of the most things you said about him. He was born special. I think his past life, he must have done a lot of spiritual work, and he was born to that level. But even as low as we might be, and as much work we still need to do, there are things we can get from how he conducted himself as an individual, even if we are not to take it to the spiritual awareness and the spiritual level. And we just admire how humbly, peacefully, and lovingly he walked, just like most of the spiritual masters. So that is one thing I think we should all try to cultivate. And another thing about the brother or sister who was saying that, what do you do after all the hard work? I'm learning, or I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita now. I grew up reading the Bible and I read the Quran. So now I'm reading, and what I've come to discover and what has given me peace of mind as an individual, I would love to share. It is the detachment from the result from everything we do, and doing everything we do with love. If you do something lovingly, you won't feel that it's a burden. You won't feel the heaviness of it, because the work would be with God or with your master or whoever you want to believe in, with the force that holds us. You won't feel physically drained. The problem most of us, I discovered we do, we put in a lot of physical effort and it becomes a conflict. But once we are at peace and we work from the spiritual seat, which is hopefulness, and which is like surrender somewhat to say, okay, I'm doing my physical part. The rest, may grace hold me. I can tell you, my brother, my sister, grace will hold you when you least expect it. And another thing, we normally attach or fixate our attention to one thing, and we forget all the other blessings. So if you're busy looking at where you're failing and not looking at the blessings, it's like you're not grateful enough. And what I've come to know, that gratitude, you saw the cucumber story, it was to do with gratitude, something we can also cultivate. That is why we wake up and we thank God, we thank our gurus, we thank everything, we thank Mother Earth. That seat, if you're busy there being grateful, you won't feel overwhelmed, because your guru, grace, they will always hold you and you won't physically feel drained. So what you can do, my brother, my sister, is surrender, because there is a lot of mysteries and a lot of help that is available to us. But if we put it upon ourselves and we think that we are individually very strong, we will affect everything, it becomes so overwhelming. That is why you see that even people we consider to be successful, they are not happy, because we are all so busy individually thinking that we can make a lot. But it is by grace. And grace only comes to you when you're humble and when you surrender and when you don't attach to the result, but you enjoy how you do whatever you're doing. That is what I had to say. I hope it helps. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to say something.
Yes. Thank you so much, sister, for sharing valuable insights. I just want to ask if any one of our participants, like Anushka Rawat or CV Kumar, anyone wants to say anything, something. If you want to say something, please raise your hand. Actually, CV Kumar sir, please unmute yourself if you want to speak. Anushka Rawat. Yes, please unmute yourself, sir. Okay, let us. Pranit wants to share something. Let us give it to Pranit.
Yes.
Sir, unmute yourself. CV Kumar sir, please unmute yourself. No, unmute yourself, sir. We can't hear you. Just Pranit, you please go ahead. We can't hear him.
Yes, Anna. Thank you so much for giving once again this chance. I want to add something to that. Rohit Singh, that he asked a question. I just want to remember Swamiji's words that he says that brave is the one who wears the jewelry of failures. See, the moment we imagine how deep that Swamiji's message are, like wearing jewelries like of failures is like something tremendous, which really gives great energy. That I connect with my this thing that after intermediate I joined means I started going to Ramakrishna Mutt, and it's I need to crack university entrance exam, and I failed for 2 times. That means 2 years I had to wait. And fortunately, I got Ramakrishna Mutt, so I was like fully connected to Ramakrishna Mutt. I don't know how much I learned in university, but I learned a lot that life lessons from Ramakrishna Mutt during that two years. And first year in the entrance exam, I got 245 rank. I thought, okay, I need training, so I joined a coaching center. Then I got 336 ranks, which is more than the previous year. That I thought, okay, this is worse than the previous testing. Then I was not giving up on my failures. I had a lot of faith. I am very clear why I'm doing. So I tried third time, and this time I kept more energy, focus, and consciousness here, and I got 46 rank in the entire university. So that was the thing, that I didn't give up just because I had some failures. I was very clear what I'm doing, and I had faith that I'll easily crack these things, and failures are fine for me. So I hope that helped you. Thank you so much.
Brother, please conclude. I think CV Kumar sir wants to add something, but he is unable to unmute himself for some technical reasons. Sir, we can't hear you. Please unmute yourself.
Now he's unmuted, I think.
No, he's on
He's
mute.
still muted.
Now, अरे यार. Now, fine.
So I can speak.
Yes, sir. I am aged. Excuse me. I am aged 73 years. I have been going through the literature of Sir Ramakrishna Mutt since 1983. I have referred and read so many books, but the previous gentleman told so much which I could not come across in any of the books regarding the last days of Swami Vivekananda at Almora, like that. It is very interesting. For the first time, I joined now, and I would like to continue joining your Vivekavani's stream. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing. Navina, brother, can you please conclude?
Yeah, I want to conclude, but I still want to narrate one more incident because I think
Yes, excellent.
it's important that we actually reflect much more. I'm talking about the incident which are really eye opener for us. That's why I want to specifically speak of this incident also. Swamiji, when he was in the United States, most of you know this. I think for those who are like newcomers, I think it will be for them specifically. Then he was walking, he was going with his disciples. Then he happened to go near a red light area. All these, red light area means where the prostitutes will be there, basically. So obviously they will be looking to attract people towards them. That's a profession, basically. So they saw Sadhu. He was very handsome, Swamiji. So they tried to attract him also. This is how it started basically. Then these people were, afraid so much. All these disciples, Vivekananda's disciples, they were trying to take Swamiji away very fast. That's what we usually do. But Swamiji's heart was so compassionate, and I was talking about how he felt with oneness with the whole universe. He started to go towards them, where those women were there. Then these were trying to pull him back. Swamiji, come back, we'll go away from here. No, Swamiji, no, he's going with them. And then he went near them. Then he saluted them. And he made a wonderful statement there. He said, they are also divine. Whom we call as prostitutes, they are also divine. But the divinity, the idea, they have brought it upon their own body. So they sort of think they are that. So that's all. The whole problem is that we think we are the bodies. That's the whole problem. Then when these prostitutes saw Vivekananda, such a holy person in front of them, then they started to say in their own language, holy man, holy man. And they kissed that Swami Vivekananda's cloth. They took it. And this is the thing, basically how Swami Vivekananda felt for everybody. So how so compassionate he was. So see, what Swami Vivekananda says, you should know one thing, and he always spoke of this oneness. In the sense, animals, plants, people, among people, we have criminals, we have the most wild people also. Swamiji are in all, speaking through all, and no sympathy. So know this. You are everybody. So we take this so we are something whole. No, look at Vivekananda. He felt his oneness with the whole universe. He was just not preaching it, he was practicing it. So whenever next moment you think, Vivekananda even says, if you think you are greater than even an ant, you are mistaken. You are not greater than an ant also. So that oneness is a whole life process. We have to practice this with prostitutes or with anybody for that matter. You may not go to them, but to have that oneness, to feel the sympathy for them is very critical. And in fact, Swamiji says in one of his talks, some 20 years back, I was very fanatic. I would not even walk on a street where, some prostitutes could be there. But today, I can stay in the same building, but I would not feel a small bit of reproachment towards them. So that's very important. It's not that you feel you are great, but you are being kind to somebody out of some kind of a charity like that. No, Swami said, I will not feel that reproachment towards them. And he asks us, is this degradation or am I expanding into universal consciousness of love? So this is how we understand this. So these are the wonderful incidents we learn from Swamiji. Basically, love and charity towards the whole human race, and trying our best to feel our oneness with others. That is the whole goal of all the Adhyatmika sadhanas. We do everything. But in the life of Vivekananda, we see this oneness manifesting itself time and again, and in different circumstances with different people. And even those who tried to kill him, criticized him, vilified him, he still had love for them. So that's what we see. So I think these are the wonderful things we have to learn from Swamiji. And as everybody has already discussed, his celibacy, concentration, his leadership qualities, and doing the best right from his childhood until the last moments of his life. So these are wonderful things to reflect upon. One Swamiji told me, when I told him, Maharaj, I want to read the Upanishads, and he told me, first read Vivekananda's life, then when you read the Upanishads, you'll be able to understand Upanishads better. See, Upanishad starts of oneness. So if you read oneness, you will simply, theoretically, you will see its oneness, but you will never practice them. We have read in our primary schools. You talk about unity, diversity, oneness. We have sort of by-hearted them, but never practice them. I have read in my high school. I know how, I don't want to say, but how my classmates who have read the same thing have behaved after they have graduated or something like that, including my own self, perhaps. I don't want to say somebody else. So we have all seen these things, memorized them like parrots, but never practiced them. So, but life of Vivekananda, you see these great Advaitic truths that we are all one. Advaita says what? We are all one. That is oneness. That the whole universe is one. So that is practiced and shown to us that how we can practice that oneness in our lives. So this is the most extraordinary thing. It's always going to be a guiding light for us. Swami Vivekananda's life, whatever he preached, he lived. You always remember this when you read Vivekananda's life and teachings. You'll be astonished basically, because sometimes what we read in his teachings looks like he's sort of fantasizing and saying something. No, he was actually living that life. Either his knowledge or compassion or love, whatever he spoke about, he was in himself an embodiment of whatever he preached. So that we have a great example before us. May we strive more and more to improve ourselves and to be true to Swamiji's teachings. And we have spent time reading so much. And Swamiji says, "You have read me so much, you heard me so much, put something into practice. Let people know that you coming into me has been a success." So let's all try to do that. And with these words, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to talk of Vivekananda and to listen of Vivekananda. So some Swamiji wrote a poem saying, Viveka Charitam Ananda Hridayam. So you reflect upon his life. It's always going to give us that bliss and inspiration to live better. So thank you so much, and we look forward to continue tomorrow. Namaste.